The Great Depression was a time that an economic problem occurred between North America and around Europe. However, it was known as the most head-turning problems that occurred during October 1929. Money, bank stores, and markets would have many financial problems. The Great Depression affected so many people between the wealthy and the poor, with taxes and profits dropping. Jobs were very hard to get, and many were losing them due to the lack of areas which needed work. It was a very economic slump that made everything very challenging during the times of 1929, which lasted till 1941. It all started with the United States on October 1929 with a decrease in stock market prices during the New York Exchange. In the United States, for the next 3 years, they had 20% of stock prices dropping till 1932. The Great Depression started to spread worldwide and hit Europe during World War I. Then Germany got into the economic slump and had to deal with war debts like the other countries from World War I. During the time, the two countries that faced the biggest debt were Great Britain and Germany. In Germany, jobs were very hard to get and there was a lot of unemployment. Each country tried to make changes, like the United States had elected Democrat Franklin D. Roosevelt to make major economic changes that needed to be made. Then the Great Depression had many weaknesses happening and imbalances brought up by the United States. The Great Depression was approximately started in the 20s. However, the New York Exchange caused the stock market prices due to decrease in the United States. Many banks would fail to have enough money and cause many unemployment issues. For example, in 1929, the federal took away and decreased the amount of money in tax funds. Jobs were unable to happen and many people began to weaken and poor. Also, the Europeans did not want to connect with the United States, but later on they had the same economic slump occur to them. As of USHistory.com says, "Once I built a railroad, I made it run. I made it race against time. Once I was a railroad, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime?" Meaning that many were poor and need money. Many would try to get money off of anything by trading, selling, and trying to get jobs. In 1924, the stock market's prices increased. 4 years later, the prices get rocky and the farmer's income drops in 1924. Then in 1929, the stock market crashes and stock prices begin to fall slowly. 7 months pass and banks are having panics and failure to expose money. Jobs are getting unemployed and reconstruction finances are happening. As the year goes on, many are losing jobs, stores, and taxes with no money fund being brought up with them. In 1933, with the loss of unemployment happening, there was also a New Deal that would happen. The New Deal was to help the economy, in which President Roosevelt began to have happen. 3 years later passed and the United States is still stuck in depression, but Germany finds their way out and has their ends. Years then passed and Roosevelt was elected president again, and money was being spent on wars such as World War II that occurred in 1939. The Great Depression helped shape the 20th century by making many changes and having many problems decreasing. However, the Great Depression was filled with many economic slumps and money that the years went on in the United States. Roosevelt made changes to end the depression that lasted for over 11 years. By making changes, it to lead to the New York Exchange and the stock market pricing going up and also going down. With many being jobless and having no money led to everyone being poor, as if history about says, as stock prices plummeted. With no hope of recovery, panic struck, which saying there would be many trying to sell and none would get money. Therefore, the Great Depression did not have a lot of money and had many money loss and economic problems. Out of all the countries involved in the Depression, North America had hit them the hardest, with many fails. It was a very important event that happened because of the tragic amount of money lost and no one having jobs. Many were hopeless and weakened by the event that happened and lasted for 1929 to 1941. The years that went on and on with many panicked and no changes happening till the later years.